What's up guys, Garen Main here. Today, I'm dropping a guide on how to deal with Sion top. Watch this, and you'll be running over any Sion main in your lane. Here are the 5 golden rules to shut down Sion. Dodge his Q or punish his wind-up. Don't force an attack while the W shield is active / break the shield. Deny his wave clear. Position yourself so he's forced to choose between hitting you or the wave. Never stand behind your minions, don't let him EQ you. Rush early boots. Alright, let's dive into the details. When Sion charges his Q, hug him. It makes it super easy to dodge, and suddenly his main tool becomes your free trade window. Sion's Q packs a punch, but its blind spot is right on top of him. The hitbox at his feet is super thin, so if you walk right through him and get behind his back, he whiffs the Q completely. Sion is an ability-reliant bruiser, but once he blows his Q and E, he's totally exposed. That's why you can't be scared. You gotta stay in his face and play around his blind spot. That's the ultimate key to winning trades against him. Sion is a sitting duck while charging his Q, making him an easy target. You can completely shut him down by pulling him out of it with abilities like Mordekaiser E or Darius E. Always look for that window. Sion's W isn't just a shield, it's a ticking time bomb. If it doesn't break, he can recast it for a nasty AoE burst. That explosion packs a surprisingly heavy punch, handling his wave clear and zoning you out all at once. Outplaying this W is the absolute key to surviving the lane. If you're ahead, aggressively glue yourself to him, pop that shield, and deny the explosion. If you're not sure, back off, respect the boom, and wait for it to drop before re-engaging. Making this split-second call is the absolute golden rule to winning trades and taking over the lane against Sion. Sion's main tools, his Q and E, are packed with AoE damage. He uses them to fast push the wave and lock you under your own tower. That frees him up to roam and impact the map, which is basically his textbook win condition. The name of the game is forcing Sion into an impossible choice. Does he spend his cooldowns on the wave, or does he trade with you? You want to put him in a lose-lose situation. Sion can use his E to punt minions and snipe you from a mile away, so never stand in line with your own wave. Don't give him free angles. If you let him spam this for free, you'll get poked out of lane in no time, and it becomes impossible to contest the trades. By now, you see where this is going, right? That's why you rush early boots against Sion. Once you boost that movement speed, dodging his stuff becomes a walk in the park. Enough talk, let's take this to the rift and put it to the test. Time to roll. I first picked Mordekaiser, and they thought they had the smart counter with Sion. Bro thinks he's cooking, but let's see how this matchup actually plays out. In the early game, we're just farming up and poking him out with Q whenever he steps up. Mordekaiser's passive procs once you land 3 hits, igniting an aura that burns enemies with % max health damage and cranks up your movement speed. And since Sion stacks infinite HP like a raid boss, this % health burn just melts him into oblivion. It's the ultimate counter. The longer this fight goes, the more Mord's aura just cooks Sion. Even after you pop his W shield, the burn keeps right on ticking. And once you take him to the death realm for a 1v1, that % health passive just shreds through his HP bar like butter. This passive is literally a cheat code against Sion. Honestly, zero clue what they were smoking when they counterpicked Sion into this. Right. Sion's Q is a total freebie. You can dodge it blindfolded, which sets up a free isolated Q for Mord every single time. We are completely smuffing on them in trades. Pulling Sion out of his Q charge with Mord's E is just giga satisfying. Just pop your W shield, drop the Q hammer on him, and let your passive cook him alive. That simple loop makes the lane unplayable for him. Mord's Q deals massive bonus damage if it's an isolated hit on a single target. When Sion tries to hide behind his minion wave, just change up your angle and snipe him right through the gaps. No free hiding spots. Mord's Q has a bit of a wind-up, so you need to predict the animation. Time it right as Sion goes for a last hit or the exact second he starts charging his Q. Catch him when he's locked in place. We just hit level 5 and unlocked the ULT. Time to flip the switch and take over. Drag Sion into the Death Realm for a 1v1 lockdown. Since he's got zero mobility and nowhere to run, Mord's passive aura just cooks him with 100% efficiency. It's a free fire zone. Mord's ULT literally steals a chunk of their stats: AD, attack speed, resists, and max HP. So get this out of your head: oh, he's a tank, I can't touch him. No. When you lock Sion in the Death Realm, your mindset should be, your stats are my stats now. Hand over the tankiness. Bro, I got completely caught sleeping. I did not expect the Sion train to crash straight into me all the way from Fountainol. Hey, the blooper reel writes itself, so take notes. Never sleep on Sion's ULT. He can zoom right back to lane and obliterate anyone who gets caught styling or greedy recalling. Usually, your instinct is to use Mord's E as an opener. Pull him in, drop the Q, and start bashing. But against Sion, saving your E is a game changer. Why? Because it completely shuts down his Q. The longer Sion channels his Q, the harder it hits, turning into a nasty stun if he maxes it out. So the read is simple. Sion starts winding up his Q, you repay him with an E pull, snap his channel instantly, and turn his key ability into total waste. That interaction alone wins you the lane. If you're facing Sion, rushing Liandry's Torment first item is an absolute cheat code. The synergy is off the charts. Your passive burn, Q, autos, E, and those extended 1v1 mosh pits inside the Death Realm all stack the burn. Since trading with Sion always turns into a long, drawn-out brawl, Liandry's .damage just melts his health bar into next week. Once you hit your EQAA combo and get your passive rolling, you just glue yourself to him. The longer the fight, the higher the DPS. See that? The difference is night and day, right? Look at how much chunks we're taking off with every single trade now. Don't think of it as building Liandry's just for Sion. Think of it like this: Liandry's is hardwired into Mord's kit because he loves long, sloppy brawls, and Sion just happens to be the absolute prime target for it. That's when it all clicks. Second item, we grabbed plated steel caps, and for third, we locked in Oanid's Trident. And trust me, there is a method to this madness. See, Sion loves relying on that chunky W shield of his. But that's where Oanid's Trident comes in clutch. Its passive basically tears through enemy shields with any spell hit. We're talking up to a massive 60% shield reduction on single target abilities, and 45% on AoE. It completely shuts down his survivability. Here's the sequence that wins you the lane as Mord. Drop the Q to slap the shield reduction debuff on him, weave your autos, get your passive rolling, and watch Sion's thick W shield melt into absolute nothingness. This strategy is an absolute masterclass for shutting down anyone trying to trade into you with a shield. Plus, look at the enemy draft. We've got Malphite, Kaisa, and other shield-abusing champs all over the map. Because of that, rushing Oanid's Trident even as a second item is an absolute no-brainer. It brings insane value beyond just the isolated lane. Sion's W gives him that chunky shield and a recast blast. But pro tip, don't bother waiting for the shield to drop before you dish out damage. Honestly, just brawl right through it. With our DPS and item passives, we don't care about his shield, we just punch right past it. Mord thrives in long, messy brawls. Here's the drill. Sion pops his W, you drop the Q, weave your autos to get the passive rolling, and you just keep the pressure on long after his shield goes pop. That's how you break him. But hold up, don't get baited by the shield, because the real danger is the W pop. The explosion hurts way more than you think. So when Sion drops his W, your goal isn't to mindlessly hug him and break the shield. Play smart around his recast timer. Back off or sidestep when the bomb's about to go off, then re-engage. Don't eat free damage. If Sion's about to pop his W bomb, just shimmy back for a sec, let him explode on empty air, and then re-attack immediately. Because of Mord's passive movement speed buff, pulling off this kind of micro-spacing is an absolute breeze. Sion's E doesn't just deal damage and slow, it shreds your armor and lets him use minion golf to snipe you. That shit is low-key tilting. Getting hit by a minion launched straight into your face hurts. So here's the golden rule for this matchup. Never stand in a straight line with him and his wave. Stop tunneling on just Sion, watch your positioning, and don't give him those free minion sniper angles. For real, once that Liandry hits your inventory, the lane is completely unlocked. Now, for Mord, Liandry was the secret sauce against Sion. But always adapt your shop. If you're on a different pick, check the board and look into Bork, Serpent's Fang, or Grievous Wounds. Build for your champ, not just the matchup. Lane is locked down, so it's time to spread the wealth. We don't want to just sit top and play in a vacuum. Let's take this lead on a field trip, group up with the boys, and take over the team fights. Even if you win the lane as Mordekaiser, late game Sion changes the whole game. It's no longer about whether you can kill him or not, it's about whether he can force you to send someone just to deal with him. With his W stacking infinite HP and runes like Demolish, his side lane pressure on towers is massive, so leaving him unchecked is extremely dangerous. When Sion starts terrorizing a side lane, your first instinct shouldn't be to ping your ADC and say, "Go deal with that raid boss." Nah, as Mord, it's literally your job to walk down there and match him yourself. That's the most high IQ play. The absolute worst thing you can do against late game Sion is to get tunnel vision and think, "I'm gonna hunt you down and kill you," chasing him deep into the side lane. Sion doesn't even need to kill Mordekaiser. If he can just tie you down in the side lane for 30 seconds, he wins. What's truly terrifying about Sion's split push isn't Sion himself, it's the combination of Sion, his minion wave, and the tower. Because Sion can easily clear waves with his Q and W, his side lane pushing speed is insanely fast. So, instead of focusing on trying to hit Sion, your absolute top priority must be stopping the minion wave from crashing into your tower. The absolute worst thing you can do is send 2 people to deal with Sion. For example, Sion is in the bot lane, so you send Mordekaiser and your jungler to handle him. What happens? Sion just pops his ultimate and escapes. Meanwhile, your top and jungle are wasting time chasing him, while the enemy team has 4 people mid and takes your mid turret. That's why, if Sion is splitting alone, you basically have to match him 1v1. That's the golden rule. If your main goal against Sion's split push is to kill Sion, the game becomes so much harder. Instead, you should think of it as locking Sion down in the side lane to neutralize the enemy team's numbers advantage. That mindset fits Mordekaiser's playstyle perfectly. Sion's split-pushing strategy aims to tie up a specific enemy champion in a side lane. In fact, current guides describe Sion's split-pushing not as a simple attempt to secure kills, but as a form of macro pressure designed to force the enemy to spend time dealing with him. So, let's turn the tables, start splitting ourselves, and smash the enemy nexus. Give Sion a taste of his own medicine using Mordekaiser. That wraps up our Sion matchup guide. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that subscribe button.